Have you ever wondered if you are truly emotionally mature? Or do you sometimes still react impulsively, like a child who doesn't know how to handle their emotions? Today, we're going to discuss 10 clear signs that you've reached emotional maturity. You might be surprised at how much you've grown or discover areas where you can improve even more. You take responsibility for your feelings. The first and one of the most important signs is that you've stopped blaming others for your emotions. You know the classic phrase, "You made me feel this way?" Well, an emotionally mature person understands that no one has the power to make them feel anything. Emotions are internal reactions, and although often triggered by external circumstances, they reflect how we interpret and control the situation. For example, if you're stuck in traffic and a car suddenly cuts you off, how do you react? If you immediately explode with anger and blame the driver, you may need to work on this. But if you take a deep breath and realize it's not worth wasting energy on something you can't change, congratulations. This shows strong control over your emotions. It's not easy. Often, we're taught from a young age to associate our feelings with others' actions, but this mindset only makes us prisoners of our circumstances. When you take responsibility for your emotions, you gain control over them. You understand the world doesn't revolve around you. An emotionally mature person knows that everyone has their own life, with their own problems, fears, and anxieties. They don't put themselves at the center of everything, assuming that what others do or don't do is always about them. Take that friend who suddenly stops messaging you frequently. What do you think? If your first reaction is to assume they're upset with you, you're interpreting the situation from your own perspective. But if you're emotionally mature, you'll consider that they may be going through a tough time, full of worries, which has nothing to do with you. This shift is crucial because when we stop taking everything personally, we begin to build healthier relationships. You truly know yourself. Self-awareness is the foundation of emotional maturity. Without knowing who you really are, it's hard to manage your emotions in a balanced way. An emotionally mature person knows their strengths and weaknesses, acknowledges their insecurities, and has clarity about what they need to improve. One way to measure this self-awareness is to reflect on your reactions. When you feel angry, can you identify where that emotion comes from? When you're sad, can you pinpoint the source of your sadness? If so, you've taken a significant step toward emotional development. Self-awareness is also closely tied to acceptance. Emotional maturity doesn't mean never feeling anger, sadness, or frustration, but rather understanding these emotions and knowing how to handle them. You don't run from your problems. This point is for those who love sweeping things under the rug. Emotionally immature people tend to avoid problems at all costs, often choosing to ignore them or hope they resolve on their own. An emotionally mature person, however, understands that facing difficulties head-on, as uncomfortable as it may be, is the only path to a true solution. For example, imagine you're in a relationship, and you start to notice something isn't right. An immature person might avoid bringing it up for fear of an argument or a possible breakup. But someone who's emotionally mature knows that, for the sake of the relationship, it's crucial to have an honest conversation, even if it's difficult. This applies not only to relationships but to any area of life. Facing problems directly is a clear sign of emotional growth. You know you don't have to be right all the time. Feeling the need to win every argument, prove you're right, and convince others of your opinion are traits of someone who still has a lot to learn about emotional maturity. When you're emotionally mature, you understand that you don't need to be right all the time. More importantly, you value harmony and respect for others' opinions more than the desire to win a discussion. This doesn't mean you should silence yourself or stop defending what you believe in. The difference is that you don't need to do it at all costs, especially if it will lead to unnecessary conflict or hurt feelings. It's possible to express your point of view with respect and accept that, in the end, everyone has their own truth. And let's be honest, how often do we argue over things that are insignificant? Is it really worth ruining the mood over something that, in the end, doesn't matter that much? You don't rely on others' validation. This is one of the most powerful signs of emotional maturity. A person who has evolved emotionally doesn't need constant approval from others to feel good. They're confident in who they are and in their choices, understanding that while others' opinions matter, they don't define their self-worth. If you often seek external validation to make decisions or feel accepted, you may need to work on this. It's natural to want to be appreciated and respected, but when this becomes a necessity, we put ourselves in a vulnerable position. An emotionally mature person values their own approval above all. They know that the only person who truly needs to be happy with their decisions is themselves. You can give and receive feedback respectfully. Receiving criticism isn't always easy, but how we react to it is a great indicator of emotional maturity. An emotionally immature person tends to react defensively, taking criticism personally. A mature person, on the other hand, can listen to feedback, reflect on it, and, if appropriate, use it to improve. Similarly, an emotionally mature person also knows how to give feedback. They do so respectfully and constructively, always with the aim of helping the other person grow, not diminishing them. You control your reactions, not the other way around. One of the biggest signs of emotional maturity is the ability to control your reactions. When you're emotionally mature, you don't let your emotions take the lead and make you act impulsively. Instead, you can pause, breathe, and think before reacting to a situation. Think about the traffic scenario we mentioned earlier. An emotionally immature person would probably curse at the driver who cut them off, reacting in the heat of the moment. A mature person, however, would control their reaction, evaluating whether it's worth getting upset over it. This ability to control your emotions is a skill developed over time and through self-awareness. When you understand your emotions, it becomes easier to manage them rather than letting them manage you. You are empathetic. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to understand how they feel, and to offer genuine support. An emotionally mature person is highly empathetic. They don't judge others for their reactions or behaviors but try to understand what's behind them. For example, when someone explodes in anger, a mature person doesn't retaliate or ignore it. They try to understand what might have caused that reaction and, if possible, offer help. Being empathetic also means recognizing that everyone has their own internal battles, which we may not even be aware of. This understanding helps us be more compassionate and less judgmental. You are always seeking to learn and grow. Lastly, an emotionally mature person understands that growth is continuous. They are always open to learning, reflecting on their own actions, and improving. This doesn't mean they constantly criticize themselves or think they're never ready. On the contrary, they recognize that life is a continuous journey of evolution, and every experience is an opportunity to learn. If you're always questioning yourself and seeking ways to grow emotionally, congratulations. This is the clearest sign that you've already achieved a high level of maturity. If you're committed to your personal development and want to keep evolving and leveling up, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Here, I always bring practical and powerful content to help you keep growing. And if this video helped you in any way, make sure to leave a like so that more people can be impacted as well. In the description, you'll find links to books that I've carefully selected, works that can completely transform the way you think and act. It's definitely worth checking out. And don't leave just yet. Take a look at the suggested videos here on the screen. They will help you even more on your personal development journey. See you there.